Hello Internet, my name is Taliesin.
And I'm Evitel, and welcome to the weekly reset, Taliesin and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdom Show.
Lots of news to get through this week, so let's get started.
Taliesin?
Yes, Evitel.
Are we going to get started with, all the WoW news and knowledge for this week?
Absolutely, yes! Just as soon as there are 3 of us here.
Yeah, but we've got lots of news this week. Don't you think we should just start?
Yes, we will, and we will. Absolutely we will. When there are 3 of us. But there are only 2. And we need 3, so...
Oh. Okay.
I'm sure someone will be along in a minute.
Oh, wait, hold on. What about Khadgar?
Do you know, that is a very good point. I haven't seen Khadgar in absolutely ages. I wonder where he could have got to. Do you know what? I say fuck him, let's go.
Yeah, let's get on with the news.
There is much to be done.
I'm afraid it's Mythic Plus to start us off again this episode. After last week's announcement of proposed changes garnered well over 1,000 responses on the US forum alone, Lore was back again this week with an update. But first, a recap.
Previously on Mythic Fuss.
Keystones will still be upgraded for successful runs just as they are now, a 1 to 3 level increase depending on how quickly these can no longer be depleted. Instead, if you don't finish your key within the timer, you'll get a key 1 level lower for a different random dungeon. And if you don't complete your key at all, then you'll get a key 1 level lower for the same dungeon that you just failed. Plus dungeon, regardless of whether it's in the timer or not, you'll get a chest with 2 items shared throughout the group, and an appropriate amount of artifact power that increases to 3 items if you complete the key within the timer. There are no extra chests for completing the dungeon any quicker than that. The forums were genuinely split on this. Half the responses seemed to be in favour of the adjustments, while the rest were more, what the fuck, Blizzard? My loot! My loot, Blizzard! What the fuck? My loot! Which is fair enough, really. Another concern is that there wouldn't be much incentive to run higher level Mythic Keystones, as the rewards weren't all that much better than just constantly running plus 15s the whole time. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the new changes that Lore brings up. Lore, by the way, who it is impossible not to feel for in these situations, because his popularity and how stressful his job is totally reliant on what the devs do in any given week. You know that every time he sees a new email from the dev team in his inbox, he's just thinking, oh, fuck off, Watcher. Seriously, you've got shit you want to go and tell them? Go to the forum and tell them yourself. See how you like it. Constantly sending me these hospital passes, fuck you. I also know that if I was a dev, I would bully the shit out of Lore. Like, if Lore had a donut in the office one day, I'd be like, hey, Lore, that's a nice looking donut. Give it to me. And he'd be like, oh no man, this is my lunch and I'm really hungry. And I'd be like, I've been thinking we might introduce a new system where gear that drops from mythic raid bosses may or may not randomly downgrade to green level items, because I really think our player base would enjoy that. Maybe you can run it by them on the forum. And Lore's like, fuck man, fine, okay, have my damn donut. Dick. For every keystone level above 15, you'll have an increasing chance for the final chest to contain additional loot. This chance scales linearly, will roll over past 100% and accumulates pretty quickly. At level 20, you'll be guaranteed 4 pieces of loot, plus a 5th if you beat the timer. Okay, I get it, and I'm gonna be honest, I like it. That, for me, solves the main problem that I personally had with the new system, that there wasn't enough incentive to run dungeons over plus 15. And honestly, going through the forums, it's clear that everyone else feels the same way. It was like a weight had been lifted off of our shoulders. There were smiles, there was singing and dancing. It was like a party where, no, it was a shit show, obviously. We have all been betrayed. Do you sit at the meetings with devs and other CMs thinking, how can we destroy the game? Are you guys trying to kill this game or what? Installing another MMO as we speak. Heaven forbid your players have fun! What's really interesting about these reactions to me is they may or may not be valid points. That's not what I'm discussing here. But these comments all suggest that the weight of player opinion is on their side. And actually in this case, it really isn't. For every comment saying, our devs actually play WoW or just heard about it, there are just as many people praising the idea and saying that they like the changes. So whilst there is a total shit show going on in there at the moment, it's unfair to describe these changes as universally unpopular, because they're just not. It would be like describing James Blunt as being universally unpopular. Sure, yeah, the majority of human beings with ears who have heard actual music before would rather a urinary tract infection than an evening with JB's back catalogue, but there are real life people in this world that love James Blunt. Like, love him. Some people even go and see him live. These people are dangerous idiots, obviously, but they exist. What I'm saying is, just because something doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that it's not popular. A lot of complaining seems to be focusing around the fact that there are RNG elements to the amount of loot that drops as dungeon level increases. But you know what, as far as RNG goes, it's pretty predictable. Seeing as from plus 15, which don't forget is the equivalent of plus 10 now in 7.2.5, the chances go up 20% for every level of keystone. So beat a level 18 dungeon and you have more chance at 4 items than 3. And since there's no indication in Lore's posts that there is a cap on this increase, that would imply that at level 25, the equivalent of level 20 now, you'd be guaranteed 6 items of loot if you beat the timer. I like that system. Is it going to encourage people who would otherwise chain run plus 15s to push 25s? No, but it might nudge them into plus 17s or 18s because really, what's the difference? And they have a real chance of getting more loot for it. And yes, the loudest noise on this does seem to be that group that will inevitably just chain run 15s because they see it as the fastest and most reliable way to get the most loot items. And for them, this is a loot nerf. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you say the changes don't work for the way you play Mythic Plus, I believe you. But as we looked at last week, different people play Mythic Plus for lots of different reasons. So don't be so quick to assume that because your feedback hasn't been acted on, that means no feedback has been acted on. This situation is a prime example of how that isn't always the case. I realise I kind of compared liking these changes to liking James Blunt. That's definitely not what I was aiming for. I like these changes. I don't like James Blunt. But if you like James Blunt, you're not wrong.
We've seen some big nerfs to bosses in the Cathedral of Eternal Night this week on all difficulties, which should encourage more people to tackle it in higher Mythic Plus runs. It's also a bit of a change in approach for Blizzard too, as previously when people had expressed concerns about the difficulty of this dungeon, their response was essentially, get good, scrub. Agronox, the big tree guy, is getting hit hardest with huge decreases to his health and damage, and those annoying lasher things that kill everyone who's never done the dungeon before, they probably won't kill anyone anymore. Oh, but you still have to stand there watching Illidan and Maiev flirting relentlessly with each other. The flirting has not been nerfed. That flirting is still hardcore. And we all know that's the real reason people don't like to run that dungeon. So nerf the flirting, Blizz. And leak news. A new, as yet unannounced Warcraft novel appears to have been accidentally revealed online. Amazon France recently posted an item in German for what is now simply listed as Ein neuer Roman, a new novel, but which was apparently previously titled World of Warcraft Die Trollkriege, or World of Warcraft The Troll Wars. There's a total lack of any other information at the moment, but it's an interesting glimpse into what Warcraft titles we have to look forward to in December 2018. But I'm totally glad I went on to French Amazon to look at this because now I'm pretty much an expert in French Warcraft. Like, did you know that the book Storm Rage is called l'Orage in French? How cool is that? Does that mean that French players have spent legions saving Malfurion l'Orage and Illidan l'Orage? Like, is that what they're called in France? Or has someone just accidentally translated a proper noun that they shouldn't have translated on the cover of this book? I'm genuinely interested. French viewers, please let us know.
This week also saw a permanent ban wave going out to players that had been supposedly taking part in win trading in rated battlegrounds. That's PvP. Now, I was going to do a whole section on this because it turned out that a lot of the people that Blizzard banned shouldn't have been banned. So Blizzard unbanned them and gave them free game time, which made a lot of people angry on the forums because apparently Blizz realising that they'd made a mistake and putting it right is proof that they are totally shit and can't do anything right. And how that's a strange attitude, and how maybe we should blame people who cheat for making everyone's life difficult, and how even now I know of more than one person who did pay real money for wins and were, I guess, wrongly let off. So Blizzard are in a bit of a lose-lose situation, really, and maybe we as a community should take some responsibility for that. I was going to do all of that shit, but then I thought, fuck it, because Leroy Jenkins is 12 years old. Yes, 12 years. There are people who have started secondary school, that's like high school, except not exactly, but it is kind of like it, but not really. It works as a comparison, who were not born when this happened. They were not born. Does that make you feel old? No? Okay, well how about this? The Harry Potter books turned 20 this year. If you read the first one when it came out, the first episode of South Park hadn't even aired yet. Kylie Jenner hadn't even been born. Now do you feel old? I do. I feel old.
Holiday news, and this week saw the Spring Balloon Festival, 3 days of sightseeing all over picturesque vistas all over Azeroth.
What a waste of time and ignorant event. The joke is on all of us.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, I guess. After all, the requirement that you wait for 2 other people to join you before you can set off would annoy a lot of people that didn't think to use the group finder tool, and there wasn't really much to it other than floating around for a bit, but genuinely, this has been both mine and Taliesin's favourite micro-holiday so far. The fun comes from the various pilots who fly you around and talk throughout the flight, and how you and your party choose to react to them and each other. Basically, it's the first RP micro-holiday, and it's brilliant. Look, I don't RP as a general rule, okay? It's enough for me to see it happening around the place, and that's why I enjoy being on Argent Dawn, but the way the Balloon Festival gently prods you into a brief roleplay with other players is really clever, and good fun if you want to have fun with it. You get as much out of the Spring Balloon Festival as you put into it, so if you thought it was boring, you were probably just doing it wrong. But I'm really hoping the upcoming 1000 Boat Bash follows the same sort of idea, because this was a whole ton more fun than I was expecting, and no one offered me a lap dance even once, which is a win.
Well, that's almost it for this week. What do you think of the new armory? Have you been there?
I haven't even looked at
you
it.
don't give a shit, do you?
Hey man, I've had a busy time IRL.
Yeah, I know you have, and I'm sorry. It's really, really good.
Is it?
It's fine, it's an armory.
Is it shiny?
It's really shiny, I guess, when I'm checking everyone's achievements to make sure they've got curve before I let them into my normal group and stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to make it much easier on my eyes.
Does it have a big rainbow at the top that says curve?
Yeah.
And does it have a giant poo if you have not got curve?
No.
It says no curve.
Neither of those things, because Blizzard didn't take on any of my ideas in the forums.
Oh, come on.
They don't listen to their player base. Fuck Blizzard, I hate them. We gave them so many good ideas. Nothing. No rainbows, no poos, nothing at all. Thank you for joining us this week. And an extra special big thank you to all of our amazing patrons who give their actual real life money to help this channel happen. Actually, genuinely guys, without you, these videos would not be happening at the moment. So thank you so much. We're going to record a special Q&A answering your questions sitting in this exact place as soon as we press stop on this. If you like the video, you can like it if you like. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Just downvote the video anyway, whatever man, we deserve it. From me, Taliesin.
And me, Evitel.
Cheerio.